Ooh, we're talking more about Tyreek Hill on today's show. I am Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports, because if Tyreek Hill does get traded, what are the top 5 destinations that Tyreek could be playing for next season? We'll dive into all of that and more. But I did want to showcase this quote from Chris Grier about Tyreek Hill when they spoke to the media and the public in their end of the season press conference. Grier said that Mike McDaniel and I had conversations with Tyreek, productive conversations. I will keep those between us. In a frustrating season, he was very emotional in a game where we had a chance to make the postseason, coming back from 2-6. But then he also shared this nugget that Tyreek Hill in that meeting did not backtrack what he said following the Week 18 loss to the New York Jets about potentially wanting out of Miami. But he never officially doubled down and requested a trade again in that hour-long meeting. So to me, it feels very unclear on if Tyreek Hill actually does want to be traded or not. But I still believe it may be a good idea for the Dolphins to explore a potential Tyreek Hill trade this offseason. And we'll go through what a package could look like in the destinations and what is the best fit. But stay or go, let me know. Should the Dolphins trade Tyreek Hill? Today's pinned comment. So if you hit with a YouTube ad break, scroll down, let it play, and answer. Type T for trade or type K for key. If you've watched our content over the last 48 hours since the Dolphins season officially ended, you would know what side of the aisle I am standing on. And it's absolutely, they should explore the idea of trading Tyreek Hill. And I said it at the end of our video late yesterday afternoon. If you didn't watch, go watch it. But to me, it's all about setting a culture in Miami. Tyreek Hill needs to be at least punished in some way for going out and publicly criticizing the Miami Dolphins organization. McDaniel says that players were consistently late to teams' meetings, and there is no accountability in that Dolphins locker room. And I think Tyreek Hill is another victim of that. And I think he needs to be held accountable for publicly requesting a trade. And to me, I think Miami Dolphins will be better off putting their foot down and building a winning and more sustainable culture in the 305, in that building, if they say, hey, this will not be tolerated in the future. We're trading Tyreek Hill. He said he wanted out. You can't say that because we'll get rid of you. But if you do get rid of Tyreek Hill, what could a compensation be? I will consistently look back at this trade made before the trade deadline in 2024. Davante Adams heading to the New York Jets as the Raiders got a conditional 2025 third-round pick. It could become a second-round pick, but conditions were not met, so the Raiders will be getting a third-round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. Davante Adams and Tyreek Hill, both on the plus side of 30, both with big-time contracts where they're getting paid $25, $30 million per season. And both are nearing the end of their careers. But personally, I actually think Davante Adams will age gracefully better than Tyreek Hill. Why? Because Adams is a bigger-bodied wide receiver who excels with hands, catching in traffic, and his route running. Tyreek Hill struggles at times catching the football, has not the best hands. He excels on using his speed to set up his opposing defenders. And if his speed kind of rails off here near the end of his career, it could get ugly for Tyreek Hill. So to me, I think you are getting potentially a day 3 pick and a day 2 pick, or one conditional day 2 pick that is a third, could become a second-round pick like you saw with the Davante Adams deal. But I also want to make note that the return for the Dolphins doesn't even give them money either, because his cap hit for 2025 is 27.7 if he's on the roster. If he's not on the roster, it's 28.7. If he's traded before June 1st. If he's traded after June 1st, it becomes 12.2. So you get relief if you trade him after June 1st, but you will not get any assets for the 2025 NFL Draft. And you will also get no cap space to help you sign free agents in March because, well, March is before June. So it's a kind of a lose-lose situation for Miami for the 2025 season. But let's talk about some trade destinations for Tyreek Hill potentially. Number 5, Dallas Cowboys. I think they could be a legit destination for Tyreek Hill. Why? Well, the Cowboys are in need of a second wide receiver opposite of CeeDee Lamb. Brandon Cooks is nearing the end of his career. That offense really struggled this season. Plus, you're already seeing Micah Parsons try to recruit Tyreek Hill to the big Lone Star State. Literally adding them. You see it on screen. We can be the fastest duo in the league. We also don't have state income taxes. Now, some of that may be tongue-in-cheek. Sure, I get it. But Micah Parsons trying to get him all the way to Dallas. Now, I'll say this. I'm more or less in the next 4 trade destinations going to talk about the most likely fits, but I did throw in the Cowboys here at number 5 because I think it would be something that you see linked quite a bit. Number 4 coming up, the Los Angeles Chargers. And on our very early preliminary list a couple days ago, the Chargers were one of my top options. One, because I'm pretty sure Tyreek Hill posted on a Snapchat at one point during the season of him potentially going to Los Angeles of something crazy. All I know is that Tyreek Hill and Justin Herbert would be a scary combination. And I know, as there is the age-old debate here between Dolphins fans of how much of a mistake Miami may have made drafting Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert back in the draft. And I get it. I do. And you probably don't want to help out Justin Herbert by sending him there or any team in the AFC, if we're going to be honest. But if you're the Los Angeles Chargers, if you could make that work financially, why wouldn't you think about trading for Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill alongside Justin Herbert and Ladd McConkey, that would be a very solid trio there, and you kind of push your chips to the table all in. Man, oh man, that would be something very interesting to see in LA. 3 more destinations to come up here in just a second, but make sure you get started with Game Time today, the #1 ticketing app out there. And if you want to go see a live sporting event, comedy show, concert, theater, Game Time is the easiest way to get tickets. They have a great feature called Game Time Picks. When you have that feature clicked on, it will show you the greatest seats available with the best deals, so you don't have to search through thousands of tickets. It filters out the fluff to make your ticket purchasing experience that much easier. They also specialize in last-minute tickets. If you're a procrastinator, Game Time will have tickets up to the very last second to your specific event. And you can also get a panoramic view of your seat in the app before you buy, so you know exactly where you are sitting. Every time I go to a live event, Game Time is the way I buy my tickets. Whether it is a sporting event like a Mavericks Timberwolves Christmas game, whether it's a Dolphins game, even though I can't really do that anymore, I always use Game Time. So download Game Time, join me and everyone here at Chat Sports, and when you download the app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, first purchase only, but use code CHATSPORTS to get $20 off. What time is it? It is Game Time. Number 3 is the Kansas City Chiefs. This just has to be mentioned, right? Kansas City, who housed Tyreek Hill for the bulk of his career, and I think that he would want to return home to Kansas City. And there are a lot of rumors and reports out there that suggested Tyreek Hill wanted to be traded back to the Kansas City Chiefs before the NFL trade deadline during the 2024 season. I think it's widely known that he wanted kind of out of Miami this season. And I know he might have not officially requested a trade over the past 24 hours with Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel, but I think there was a legit thought process that's been building for some time now on Hill potentially wanting out of the Dolphins organization and heading back to Kansas City. The Chiefs obviously drafted Xavier Worthy. They obviously have Rashee Rice. They traded for DeAndre Hopkins. And maybe that Hopkins trade kind of pushed that Hill narrative and possibility not even close and not even away. But I think you have to think of the Chiefs as an option for Tyreek Hill due to mutual interest from Hill and Kansas City, and the Chiefs potentially wanted to bring him back. You know, he's got a good relationship with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes and company, so you never know. But I'll tell you this. Even if they had the best trade package available, I think I wouldn't trade Tyreek Hill back to Kansas City out of spite. Maybe I'm a hateful person. Maybe I'm too spiteful. You can say that I am. But guess what? I am not going to send him back to Kansas City. I will not do it. One, because the Chiefs would become much better, and you're trying to chase down the Chiefs in the AFC, and I don't want to see them get more championships. Plus, I also want to stick it to Tyreek Hill, because you want to leave us? I'm not going to send you the preferred destination. It's kind of like what's going on with Jimmy Butler in Miami right now, as well as other trades in the NBA. At what point does the team have more control over the player? I tell you what, it's just tough, man. It's just tough. But either way, make sure you hit that sub button, because if a Tyreek Hill trade does go down in this offseason, we will be going live to react to that trade. So make sure you are subscribed because we'll have you up to date on everything this offseason for the Miami Dolphins. All right, number 2 on the trade destination here is the Washington Commanders. And they were on my short list of teams on the preliminary list as well. And if I got to be honest, and I'm rooting as an objective NFL fan, I think Tyreek Hill to Washington would be the most fun. And it's my personal favorite. And I know we're talking from their perspective here, but the Commanders may see this as an opportunity to go all in. Why? Well, Jayden Daniels is entering his second year of his career this upcoming season. They already went to the postseason in year 1, and they're going to have Jayden Daniels on a rookie contract for 4 more years, right? They got 3 more and then that 5th-year option before he's inevitably going to be paid, probably $65 million from when we get to that point 3 or 4 years from now, if he continues to play well, which it seems like he will. And Tyreek Hill at that point will be retired in all likelihood or be off of the current contract he's on. So the Commanders have the ability with a ton of cap space to soak in Tyreek Hill's contract and go all in. A Jayden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Tyreek Hill trio? Are you kidding me? That's absolutely disgusting and would probably put them as one of the biggest favorites in the NFC next season. I could see Washington go all in to give Jayden Daniels the adequate weapons to try to win in the next 2 years while taking advantage of Jayden Daniels' rookie contract. I think, in my opinion, if I went around the league and said, who do I think would benefit the most by making a Tyreek Hill trade, it is the Washington Commanders. Name a destination for me. Where will Tyreek Hill be traded? What do you think is the most likely spot for Tyreek if the Dolphins end up trading him? I don't think it's the Commanders, but that would be my top choice for them to make the move. Let me know where you think he'll ultimately go down in the comment section. I think the number 1 likely spot is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have been in the market for a top-tier wide receiver for a very long time now. They were in the market to try to get Brandon Ayuk. They were in the trade market for DeAndre Hopkins. They have been consistently trying to find someone to spearhead that wide receiver room. And with the mental head case that George Pickens is, I do not think they are likely going to keep George Pickens long term. Pickens is entering the final year of his contract this upcoming year. He wants an extension. And I was talking with some people in our chat sports offices and around in the NFL circle here, and they're saying that George Pickens is going to want damn near $28 million per season. I don't think the Steelers are going to pay him that because he is a simple head case off the field. He's a head case on the field. And I think they're trying to maybe potentially trade him this offseason as well, especially if Pickens doesn't get the money he wants. He might request the trade himself. So then they would try to replace him as a wide receiver 1. Plus, if Mike Tomlin stays on as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, we know there is no better culture, no better system in the NFL than the Steelers. Like, people come and go in there, but one thing remains the same. Winning culture and a no-nonsense attitude. I think Mike Tomlin could handle the ego of Tyreek Hill. If he's handling the ego of George Pickens right now, I think Pickens is worse than Tyreek Hill in terms of the off-the-field drama. So I do think Pittsburgh is the number 1 option for Tyreek Hill. They need a wide receiver to potentially replace George Pickens. Plus, I think they could handle Tyreek Hill and all the things that come around Tyreek. So that's why I have them at number 1. And like I said earlier, if Tyreek Hill gets traded, we will go live to break down that trade and react. So make sure you hit that sub button. And if the Dolphins officially say there will be no Tyreek Hill trade this offseason, we'll also have you covered on that. So make sure you do join the channel.